Up next on Inside ChampCar Racing Mustangs. Welcome to Inside ChampCar. I'm Brian Bielanski, the guy in the ChampCar shirt. He's Bill Strong. You probably heard of him or seen him before. Sorry about that. And then the good-looking guy in the green jacket there, right in the big box, is Jim Uteg. How you doing, Jim?
I'm doing excellent. How you guys doing tonight?
Good. We're doing great. Based out of the Chicago area, Mustang team, WIP Racing. What does WIP stand for? Is it an acronym? Is it just something you pulled out of a hat after a couple of adult beverages?
Well, it's an acronym that we couldn't figure out what it really meant. One was when we started in ChampCar, because we're oval racers, but I switched over to road racing. We referred to it as wrecking process. My son likes to think it's winning process, and and the rest of us, my wife just keeps thinking it's work in process. So whatever you want to say.
I like work in progress. That's pretty good.
That's awesome.
So wreck in progress is pretty good too.
Well, when you come from an oval track racing where you only run for 15, 20 laps, you always you fight for your position. You think if you're in the lead, it's your position, and you don't give. And so the first couple of years of this road course stuff, I've had a little bit of contact because I insisted I was slow, still am, but I insisted that was my line, and they needed to go around me, and unfortunately, I normally got the losing end of that.
So let's start off as Brian just totally screwed the show up already.
I did this time. It's my fault.
Yeah, but how did you get started in racing in general? Not just ChampCar, but racing, the car stuff.
So it goes back many decades ago. When I was a child, we used to go out to Santa Fe Speedway, clay oval track here, and then my dad would always talk about stories how he was involved with race cars and changed tires, and my grandfather did a little bit of racing, and in his era they were racing at Soldiers Field where the Bears play.
Oh.
And and when you go to those shows, as a kid you're just like we have Hot Wheels and stuff, and you dream a little bit, and you say, I'm going to do that one day. Well, it took all the way until after I got married. About the time my wife was pregnant with my son, we happened to be going down to one of her relatives' house who just bought a new modified chassis. And by the end of that night, I had bought all their spare parts and started building the car.
Nice.
So that was back, so my son was born in 95, so that was like 94 era. And then I just started gathering parts and knew nothing about setting up race cars. I heard people talk about ride heights, so I just took all those parts, put them together, and had a few problems getting the thing dialed in so I can get on the track. And so never made a practice lap, never made a hot lap. My very first time behind the wheel racing was I dropped into we were at a track called Fairbury, Illinois, dropped right into a heat race. That was my very first turn.
Wow. How'd that go?
For the next few years, because my car was not set up correctly, I kept on thinking it was loose, kept on tightening it up, and I tore up a lot of stuff every weekend, and eventually set that aside, and then about time Jimmy was 7, I talked to him a little bit about staying out of trouble and stuff like that, and we bought a junior dragster to encourage him, and then we learned shortly after we had it at home we couldn't compete with it until he's 8, so we just practiced on the sidewalk.
Yeah.
It was a cool looking car with deep purple with this big ass wing on it, and he would blast that down the sidewalk, and then I'd chase him and turn him around, and we did that for a while, and a couple months after having that, you kind of learn about other racing because people start coming over and talking about it, and then we learned there was a go-kart track right down the street. So one day I'd learned about there was one for sale, and my in-laws are great. They helped me a lot, and my father-in-law happened to come over and made the comment if he had some money laying around he didn't need for a decade or two, and he said, he he said yes. So we jumped in the truck and we wound up bringing his go-kart home, and that sat in the garage. I think 2 days before my wife found it. So we opened up the garage, like, what in the world did we do now? And then I threw my father, I said, underneath the bus, because she's like, "Where'd you get the money?" It's like, "Well, your dad helped me." So, anyways, we
Good job, Grandpa.
So that go kart was when we got that, the part of our number, our 545, actually represents something. So when we got that kart, that guy had bought it from someone previous, and they were asked to keep the number 5. And then so all of Jimmy's career, he's used the number 5. And then I had a friend that when I was racing the modified, I used to use, his number was the word just and the number 4 and then fun. So I adapted that after he retired from the racing circuits, and so I always used the 4. He used the 5. So that's how come our number is a 545. But then shortly, so we did that for a while. Actually, for the rest of the year, thinking that when he was 8, we'd go run that junior dragster and the go-kart. Well, then we switched over to the INEX series, the Bandoleros and Legend cars.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so we bought a Bandolero, and then that was going well. We're running the go-kart, going back and forth. And then eventually, when I bought that dragster, I was thinking my daughter, that was bleeding Deep Purple and stuff, she would wind up with that. And she basically told me one day, is like, "Dad, I'm not going to compete with him in racing." so we sold that, got a second Bandolero, and then up in the Midwest here, we run all the 3 different classes together. And so I'd race with him. Basically, you'd have the 3 different classes. I'd race the Bandolero with him, and then eventually when he got turned 12, a friend at the track was moving up to stock cars, and he called me up and he's like, "You need to come look at this Legend car." I was like, "I'm going on vacation in 2 days. Like, get your ass over here." And so he's like, "All right, come get this out of my garage." I was like, I'm going on vacation in 2 days. Like, come get it. We'll worry about paying for it later. So I dragged the trailer over there, grabbed the Legend car, and leave it sitting there, go on vacation, didn't tell anybody, came back, and then had to, again, surprise my wife that we had bought another car. And
I never thought of doing that. He made me do it.
Yeah, I think that's a fantastic. So how were the neighbors when you were running the junior drag up and down the street? Were they in love with that idea?
Yeah, everybody loved it. It was
Okay.
it was a neat look. We lived in a farm community.
Okay.
So the houses weren't real close together. It wasn't like, and I only could run back and forth up and down the sidewalk so many times before I got winded. So it wasn't like we did it for hours.
Well, then you had to buy a scooter or a golf cart, right? That should have been the next thing that snuck in the garage.
Yeah, we're still trying to figure out how to get the golf cart, but we haven't acquired it.
Your wife's already saying, "Get off this podcast! Get off this podcast!" I love it.
So at some point we had 2 Legend cars. My father-in-law and I were splitting seat time in the second one. Jimmy was doing very well with that, and then when he went to college, we parked those things, and then about 2017, the father-son team that we always pitted next to called me up, and just ironically, I just learned about the Lemon series on how they would shrink wrap people to the roof of their car and stuff like that. Didn't even know the word lemon. About 30 days after that, winds up the Bob calls me and says, "Hey, I'm going to build this Lemons car. You want to drive it?" I was like, "Absolutely." So we he built that car, and we helped field it the first time here in Joliet, and then
That's a blast with like 600 cars on track, isn't it?
Yeah, and it was, and I had contact in that first race.
There's a theme here.
So, yeah. Oh, yeah, there is. And then, well, and after we did the Lemons race, then we went to Gingerman, and then, that just, because we came from a very competitive uh, environment, the Lemons wasn't really what we were about.
Right.
And we weren't about wearing capes and whatever they do. So we wound up go visiting Gingerman and watch the race. We were there about 7 minutes, maybe 10, and we looked at each other and said, "This is a place that we need to be." And so we finished the year out with Lemon's car that year, and then we switched over to that car was probably like the last year. It was ChampCar, because it seemed like it switched shortly after we came on board, and then we've been running ChampCar is what it is today, about 3 races a year, and then in 2019 I was coming back from a family vacation, and the Bob who owned the car, he's like, "Well, I'm getting out, I'm selling it," and then we figured out how to purchase it and find another driver, and we've been developing our ChampCar program ever since.
Well, the car just keeps looking better and better and better. I mean, the wrap this year is just awesome looking.
Yeah, that's I get harassed by my team members on that. I always joke to them, it's like, when I grew up, if it didn't go, you chromed it. So we got to have a clean car because we're so fast.
Yes, that's exactly right.
So when you went road course racing, was that when you started with the Mustangs and stuck with the Mustangs the whole way through?
Yeah. So when Bob went to go buy the car, he told me he's going up to Rockford to buy a Mazda Miata. Like, oh, cool. And when he came home, that car was on the trailer.
The Mustang?
So I don't know how a Miata became a Mustang, but all I know is that Mustang was on the trailer and it had a hole in the side of the block.
Steroids.
It's a V6 or a V8? It's a V6, right?
Yeah, it's a V6.
Yeah.
And
best of both worlds.
So we and because just growing up with American muscle cars, when we started, seemed like we were one of the few or the only that was fielding a USA branded car in the tracks we were at. So now I'm so deep into it. I got 3 rear ends, 3 transmissions. I used to have 3 engines, and now it's I'm so invested. I'd be scared to change at this point.
Yeah. Now, speaking of 3 engines, you guys were just recently at Mid-Ohio. You had to do an engine swap. What happened?
Well, we have one of our drivers. We all our drivers have nicknames when we put them in the car.
Is one of your drivers
Bonehead?
Oh, I was going to say, is he named Money Shift?
No. So the one name is Bonehead, but I think I'm going to have to take over that name because on Sunday, so I'm blind in my left eye. So we do a lot of spotting. My son says I think we're the only sports car team that does spotting like short track does. But so I was coming out of 2, had 3 cars pass me on the left side, and I didn't see them in my mirrors. So I decided to figure out how I can see them. Well, at 104 mile an hour, instead of dropping it in 5th gear, I dropped it in the 3rd and overrevved the engine. So, and we have had a lot of, like, one year we went through 3 engines in 9 laps. We'd go out there for 3 laps on practice day, and something would go wrong, and 2 of them were from a bad part that we finally figured out what was causing it. But so we got pretty good at changing engines, and we keep streamlining it. So if there's ever a competition on changing engines, I think we probably could take that trophy home.
And you work in the trucking industry, right? So you're around automotive stuff all day long.
Yes. Absolutely.
Do you work on trucks, or what is your role in the trucking industry?
No, back when I was fresh out of high school, I was a diesel technician for a long time. But now, you know how sometimes you feel like they don't know what you're good at, so they just keep promoting you until they figure out how to get out of the way. Well, I've made it to the top of this building. I'm the general manager. So
That's an interesting thought process because you said they don't know what you're good at. In my line of work, it's when they know what you're not good at, then they promote you.
Yeah.
So,
well, that may be more of the truth.
I like the way you said it better. That's pretty awesome. So what was your first, I guess, ChampCar race? How far back was that?
17
I think it's 2018.
or
Okay.
18. Yeah, that's right.
Well, that's right. Because Bill, you guys still, got the ChampCar.
Yeah, 18 was
18.
Well, 17 is when we announced it.
Right.
Thanksgiving. Yeah, but it was like in August when we started work on it. And then right at the VIR 24, actually.
Yeah.
And then 18 became the RVA Graphics and Wraps.
Got it.
Yeah, ChampCar Endurance Series, or presented by RVA Graphics and Wraps. And then 19, 17, 19. Can't remember. No. I'm sorry. It was in 17 we were presented by RVA Graphics Wrap. In 18 we went Tire Rack and full ChampCar. That's right. Gotta get my dates right here.
So how big of a transition was that from doing the short track, circle track stuff to coming out and figuring out how to make a car go left and right?
It actually wasn't bad at all. When we first jumped in the Mustang, we had real soft springs on it. Basically, it was all the stock suspension, and the car, because we were slow, right? It seemed to rotate good, and it was just fun. It was like, man, this is gonna work. And then as you learn, like I always tell the story of tires, you know, how you see people like, well, we don't go through tires. And it's like, well, you're not racing yet. So you can go 2 seasons on one set of tires, and then when you get good, you start going through tires on every day or every event and stuff like that. Well, we were so slow in the beginning there that the car was easy to turn. We didn't get scared, and making 90-degree turns was a blast. And I can tell you now, coming off of Mid Ohio, we left a lot on the table there, and that track was a blast. And but it's every year we keep just getting a little bit faster, a little bit better, and but it's a challenge for all of us. You know, Ryan, when we brought him on after we wound up buying the car. He played baseball competitively, so he said he wanted to drive one day. So we took him out to Joliet Autobahn, let him practice. He spun the car out, got black flagged on that practice day, and a week later we drop him in wheel-to-wheel racing at Road America.
Sure, sounds like a great plan.
Oh my God! Like, here, go 120 miles an hour with cars that are doing 140 miles an hour around you.
Slow down there, Bill. We have a V6 Mustang with no aerodynamics, so
so it'll do 130.
No, that car at Road America will do 107 mile an hour, and it stops. It keeps making noise, but it don't do anything.
That's like the John's Mini at VIR. I'm on the back straight, and I tell you, you know, it's small, it's loud, the roof vibrates with the wind, and you think, oh, I'm doing 140 miles an hour here, you know, because, you know, it's small. And you look down, and it's like 90. It's like, what? No way. And then you realize that the first Miata passes you by like you're standing still. That could have been me. It could have been me, my lack of skill.
The good part, though, about 107 miles an hour, you know, you can go flat through the kink and brag about it, and nobody has to know you're only doing 107 miles an hour. You say, I'm flat through the kink. What's your problem?
Yeah.
So let me tell you about 2 stories about Road America. So we're out there practicing. Jimmy, his nickname's Speed in the car, and he's always 3, 4, 9 seconds faster than the rest of us. And he came off the carousel saying he was doing 71 mile an hour at the exit of the carousel. So I spent all weekend trying to exit the carousel at 71 mile an hour. Never made it.
Yep.
And now I do believe that's the only track that I ever had a day where we were faster than him. But then the other thing he kind of told me, he's like, well, I don't use the brakes in one. I just drive up there and turn. So between the carousel and trying to make turn one, because again, the car slowed itself down.
Right.
And yeah. So those two things, I wound up turning out some pretty good lap times. But when Jimmy races that track, we haven't been back. He radioed in, and he was like, and I couldn't understand him. I said, repeat what you're saying. It's like, I'm going to come into the pits, can you give me some crayon and coloring books? I need something to do going down these straightaways.
Yes, no kidding. Yeah.
Yeah, especially going up the hill towards the start-finish line.
Yeah, because it's all uphill, and it's a big hill. It's not
it
just,
is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because I was really disappointed in our top speed in the MR2 at Road America. But then after, when I was down at the bottom of the hill at the last turn, then I realized, we're climbing a lot. Yeah.
So, and you don't make up for it. Going downhill towards 5 is not as advantageous. You're losing a lot more uphill than you're gaining going downhill.
I've always told Chelsea, I think we should run Road America backwards on Sunday.
I'm sure they'd love that. And has that request ever been granted, I'm guessing?
It just gets ignored totally.
Exactly.
Totally ignored. Luckily, she's not reading. They're having a meeting tonight. So.
Okay. Well, I'll send her. I'll queue up the clip and send her the link.
Yeah, Chelsea said we can run Road America backwards on Sunday. Just don't tell the track that. If you're from Road America, we're just playing. We're joking.
Exactly.
Start getting emails Monday morning.
Nobody's watching.
Your guy on the show said you're running it backwards.
So
how big are your front brakes? Do you have big enough brakes to run the track backwards?
Oh yeah. We have good brakes.
We have the Cobra brakes.
We're only going 107. If you're using the brakes, you're probably going slow.
Wait a second. You got a really cool hood with a cool scoop, and it only does 100 and something miles an hour. That's it.
Well, it's a V6. That's not it. Yes, don't go fast.
To quote the great Steve Martin or Dana Carvey, it's better to look good than to be fast.
Yes.
Or something like that.
Something like that, yeah. Now, what has been the biggest issue with your Mustang other than drivers?
We haven't yet to have a transmission. We run a T5 to last longer than our brake pads. That's our goal.
I know the secret to that. I think all the Mustang owners that do really well, I think they use one of those $25,000 T5 transmissions.
Oh, so that's what the gift is for me being on the show tonight.
Yes. Brian, do you have a prize for our guest?
Sure. Let me pull out my checkbook. It's going to bounce like a racquetball, but yeah, I'll write you a check for that. I'll write that off my wife's account.
So transmission. So once you get the transmission fixed, then you have diff issues. Once you get the diff issues fixed, then you have drive shaft issues. Once you get that fixed, then you have carburetor or fuel injection issues. It's just this rotating thing. It'll go back to the transmission at one point.
Bill, my wife is listening. She don't need to hear this.
Oh. So, we've always thought, and I think this would be fun, or my wife thought it'd be fun too. I've asked other racers, they said, no. I thought it would be fun to have the wives on a show.
Yes.
And, like Inside ChampCar, the wives edition.
The wives of the paddock.
Yeah, the wives of the paddock. And just to hear all the crazy stories, like, the guy getting the massive discount for tires, I'm just holding them for a friend. It's not mine.
Yes.
Those cigarettes weren't mine, that kind of stuff.
Yeah. When you say you quit, that means that you think you got enough parts, put it all back together, and we'll be back next week.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Right.
Yeah. It's only going to take 20 minutes to put this part on. I'll be back 3 days later, or, by the end of the 11 o'clock at night, you're standing there like, where were you?
How many races do you guys get to do every year?
We try to do 3 a year.
Okay.
Originally, we started out with 2 local tracks, thinking that we were going to run Joliet, Gingerman, and then 1 long distance one. These last couple of years, we've drifted away from that. We love Pittsburgh. We enjoy NCM, and then we keep just looking for tracks that we haven't been to. So it's a little tough with the schedule with us, because we got this thing called a job that gets in our way.
Yeah.
And they only give us so many vacation days.
And you're not old enough to retire yet.
I've been racing my son's whole life, so even if I was old enough, I would never retire.
Yeah.
I didn't start racing with $9 million to end with 2.
That's right. So what's the next race for you guys?
I think we're done until March. We're gonna start the season off in NCM. We had planned to go down to Atlanta in February, but one of our drivers, he lives there, opening up a new business. He trades cardboard for a living, those things called baseball cards.
Oh.
And
wow.
so his grand opening, I think, is right around there. So he said, let's push it off 1 more year. So we're gonna go back to NCM and do that one, and then it sounds like that BFG's might be on the list again this year. So we'll get out there and race there. We did very well in Lemons when we were out in Denver. Came in 2nd overall and 1st in class.
That's a fun track.
We hadn't been back, and so if that's on the schedule,
Which one is it? Now you're talking about Colorado, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's on the schedule.
So,
Bill, have you guys ever raced at Blackhawk Farms?
They have.
Okay.
Way back.
Way back.
It doesn't have a pit lane, does it?
Well, it has a pit lane.
Something is wrong with it.
It might not be big enough. That might be the answer.
That might be it. Not that that's wrong.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's only a 1.9 mile.
Yeah.
But that.
And our head director, she's from that area too. So.
Okay.
Yeah. She doesn't like traveling either.
So
wait, did you go to Daytona? Did you race at Daytona as a Rive and Drive?
No. We haven't done the Daytona at all yet. That was supposed to be on the schedule early on, but until we get something, until we can go through two days of racing and not destroy something, I'm not ready to go down to Daytona, because that's a 14-hour race, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well, and that's a long tow when you have car problems to deal with. So, but I do want to know when you do get there, the driver who asked for the coloring book and the crayons for Road America, I'd like to know what he asks for the NASCAR 3 and 4.
Yeah, it's going between coming out of one, and going all the way through was just like, and then he hit bus stop, and then you got, I found Charlotte to be more fun. Charlotte was a lot more dangerous and just a lot more on edge, and for me, it was just more entertaining than Daytona was.
Yeah, Daytona's fun.
There's a lot of people that love Daytona.
Yeah, if you have a high power car, Daytona's fun.
Nah, I mean Miatas do well there too. And Mustang. Sorry.
All right, Jim.
So I found out Blackhawk does not have a bridge, so once you're in, you're stuck.
Oh, I thought they've got a bridge now.
Somebody just said nope.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's true. But that didn't stop you guys from going to Hallett, right?
Yes, it did, except for 1 year, and then the following year they made a bridge or made a tunnel.
Gotcha.
So,
all right, Jim. I'm sure you've got some folks you'd like to thank while we've got you here. Now is your opportunity.
Yes, most of all, my wife. Actually, all four of the wives for letting us do this.
Well, see, that's your problem, Jim. You've got 4 wives. That's expensive.
Hell.
Sorry.
But my in-laws, Shar and George, have helped us along the way. I don't really chase any sponsors anymore. I found out that it's easier for me to take on side jobs than to support that. So that's really my list is fairly short. Just everybody who the drivers and their wives and they're probably the ones that I lean on the most.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Well, we look forward to seeing you come on out whenever it is next for you folks. And hopefully it'll be one of the ChampCar live broadcasts that we can follow along. WIP Racing, work in progress, win in progress, wreck in progress. You'll have to let us know which iteration it is on that race. But
well, when Bill interviews us on the podium, we'll know which one we're going to use.
That's all right. I'll interview it and it'll never get shown, so it's all right.
That's good. All right, Jim Uteg, thanks a lot for being with us. We appreciate it.
All right, thank you. Have a good night. Good time.
All right, well, we're going to come back in just a minute. We're going to have a bunch of updates and fun stuff, and Bill's always got something interesting and humorous to talk about.
Yeah, I'm going to eat raisins.
We're going to do all that when we come back. Stay with us. ChampCar, Inside ChampCar is going to continue in a second.
ChampCar is an endurance road racing grassroots motorsports series. The idea of ChampCar is you can get a bunch of buddies together and on a budget go to these premier racetracks all over the United States and up into Canada and get maximum track time.
Josh here, Wasting Money Racing. The things that really draw us to ChampCar that we love is that the series is a little bit more serious than the other entry-level endurance racing series, and the series as a whole is like a big family, and everybody is always willing to help each other in any dire situation that you may have.
The rulebook is intentionally kept small to make it simple for everybody to go racing, and yet control costs for the competitors. For sure, one of the most exciting things for me with ChampCar was that I get to race on all these amazing racetracks, and it's super easy. No licensing, no special qualifications. All you need is your driver's license, your gear, your membership. Rent yourself some seat time, and you can go racing this weekend.
I enjoyed racing with ChampCar because I think they provide the closest competition in all the amateur endurance series, and because they race at bucket list tracks.
Hi, this is Rick Brazar from Savannah, Georgia, RPM AutoWorks Racing and Apex Predators Racing Team. What I like about ChampCar Endurance Series is the opportunity it gives an old guy like myself to get back into some competitive door-to-door racing with a modest budget. You can put together a really nice car for not a lot of money, and it's a lot of fun to go out there and mix it up with some top-notch drivers. I enjoy the camaraderie, I enjoy the friendship, and I enjoy the program that ChampCar Endurance Series has put together.
Welcome back to Inside ChampCar. Brian Bielanski, Bill Strong, having a good time, doing our thing.
Jim's pretty cool.
Jim's a good guy.
Yeah.
And he's got 4 wives.
That's the kind of gray hair I'd like to have. It's like perfect. I'd love to have that.
Give it time.
Sorry, blonde.
Give it time.
I know. But he's also a lot younger, too. So.
Okay. All right, well, I'm not far from the gray hair part myself. I'm getting there.
Hey, so made some,
You've been
said
busy.
on the description we talk about business.
Yes.
Yeah, we're going to talk about business. But just we had a few things that have changed since Chelsea's come on.
Okay.
We talked about the way that she handles the penalties. And that seemed to have gone down well. So much so we've had some people like email saying, "Hey, we're coming back ChampCar Racing because we saw what would happen and we like what you're doing." So it's like, whoa, that that's interesting.
Oh.
So yeah, so that's happening. We have we had Road America contact us. They are doing things a little differently when it comes to overnight stays and camping. So in the past they had handled it. Now they've given it back to us.
Oh.
And we have to, either we shut down the track overnight or and not have gate guards and stuff like that, or have to pay for that, which is extremely expensive, or we just go ahead and pay the fee and have a track worker there, and we get to help recover some of that membership money for the event with camping and electric fees. So we put that into the SUPs. I did that this afternoon or sometime around lunch. So make sure if you're going to Road America, please download those. We've got 3 different options.
Okay.
It was hard to kind of figure this out because we know we have guys that show up there with RVs and race trailers and the whole bit.
Right.
They're going to require that if you are staying the night, that you pay these fees. There's no getting around it. Everybody's going to have to pay the fees if you're staying the night. So if you're staying in a RV camper, race trailer, tent camping, in your pickup truck, in your car,
right,
sleeping in a sleeping bag outside, you got to pay for this. So if you're staying overnight, tent camping, no electric, $100 for the whole weekend.
Yeah.
Okay. If you're staying in an RV, race trailer, tent camping, stuff like that, you have a choice of sleeping in the top lot, which is 50 amp electric, or down in the paddock, which I don't know what the amperage is there, but I don't think it's 50 amp. I think it's a little lower than that. And you get 1 free electric band for pit lane, and that's $125. And then pit lane electric for the whole weekend is $50 if you just want that only. But if you're staying there, you have to pay you'll pay that at the front gate when you sign up. You show your smart waiver. You got to do those smart waivers too, and the link is in that. They also have a test day going on, and that's held by Road America, so you need to go to Motorsports Reg and sign up for that. The links are in the SUPs. But yeah, so the big change is the camping. So we probably are doing a show from that race. I had it budgeted in for this race, so Paulie, me, Tiffany, and Brian, if you'd like to join us, we'll be doing a race there. So that's a big change on that. We are headed, race coming up tomorrow evening, and then bright and early Thursday morning, we are headed to Harris Hill Raceway in San Marcos, Texas, which is just a few minutes south of Coda. What's that? Austin.
Oh,
Texas.
Austin. I was looking up something. You were talking about the cost to camp at Road America.
Yeah.
If you wanted to camp across the street at Plymouth Rock, it's going to cost you $90 a night for a tent.
Yeah.
And it's going to cost you $101 a night for an RV site.
Yeah.
So, I mean, so just putting it in relative terms,
right?
Right. It's not.
And we know there's going to be guys there with RVs that have their own power.
Sure.
So with that in mind, we did label it accordingly.
Yeah.
So you're going to have a generator and stuff like that.
Cool. All right. Anyway, Austin, Coda.
Yeah, we're off to San Marcos, Texas.
Okay.
Harris Hill, one of my favorite tracks. It's a neat little track.
Yeah, we've talked about it a lot.
Spots left open. Yeah, few spots left open. We go there twice a year. Little club track that's just absolutely fun to drive.
Yeah.
Wet, rain. I don't know what it's like to drive in the snow, but I know some of the drivers do.
Are you guaranteeing rain? Is that what you're promising this?
No, it's supposed to be hot. It's supposed to be in the lower 90s. So, well, I guess that's not hot in Texas, but it's hot here.
Yeah.
And then we head up to Pittsburgh. Got a big party going on. Last week we had the cook on or the chef.
The chef,
and we are asking for folks to bring some food. There is a thread up on the forum and one up on Facebook to let them know what you're going to bring. I'm going to bring potato salad and some other stuff. And then I'll bring a bunch of other stuff too. Whatever I find at the store, I'll bring. There'll probably be 13 or 14 other chocolate chip cookies there too, but you can never have enough,
No, you can never have enough.
So Chelsea's been working on the 2024 schedule. That's coming along slowly, but we're getting there.
Okay.
We did hear back from some of our bigger tracks, which we were getting a little scared, but we heard back and they're like good to go. So we'll start getting some what do you call it? Some contracts in the mail.
Yep. Dates on
And
the
that
calendar.
goes back to something else that we've released last week, which is a Champ Bucks purchase at a discount. Part of that is, these tracks are all wanting their money up front.
Right.
I mean, they want a large, some tracks a large chunk by January, February.
Wow.
And just to hold your spot. And then then we have a certain amount of time to pay it up until, so many weeks out from the race. So there's a lot of money that we need to have in place.
Right.
So, yeah. So that's kind of why we're doing that. And, we thought, what about a better way to help with the membership is to, pass them on a big savings on that stuff. So
yeah.
we've had a few teams already do it, and we've heard from a bunch more that are all trying to get their money together. And this sale runs on until September 30th. And, but yeah, just go over to champcar.org/web/champbucks.php.
Cool.
Or just go to the website and click on the green box that says, hey, save money.
There you go. I like saving money.
Yep. So just somebody said Indy. I've been looking at Indy. Where's my business cards? I've got all the Indy business cards from all the people there. So I can't tell you if we're going there or not this year. Probably not, but who knows? Maybe. But we said that last year too, but no, seriously.
There you go.
And then, but yeah, it's, and I've been so busy. Chelsea's been so busy that I failed you guys.
Uh-oh.
And I'm really sorry. I did not get to edit the videos.
That's okay.
I'm really sorry.
People will still want to see him next week.
Yeah. So, yep. So we'll get those done. And you're off to the SCCA national championship thing. What do they call it? Runoffs?
The runoffs. Yep. Going to the 60th running of the SCCA National Championship runoffs at beautiful Virginia International Raceway,
which is right over there.
Yeah.
There.
Can you see that from your back porch?
If I stand on my roof, I can see VIR.
I love it.
Yeah, we're I might just head. Let's see. When I get back from Texas, should be Monday late.
Yeah.
But we'll see, and maybe I might knock on your door. And
I fly out Tuesday morning into Charlotte, pick up my motor home, and then tool on up whatever that. I think it's 85. At least part of it's 85.
85, yeah.
And then there's the 2-lane to get there, and make my stop at the ABC store because that's what you guys have in Virginia.
Yeah.
Yep. I don't like to fly with my ABC. But and we do
it's tradition in Virginia to go in there singing that Michael Jackson ABC or the Jackson 5 song
ABC.
Yeah, you got to do it with the little dance. Yeah, in the store. It's tradition. They give you 10% off. So
if I just wear one white glove when I go in, will that be good enough?
Yeah. Oh, Fred just brought up the news about Heartland Park. Heartland Park Topeka.
I saw
they announced they're closing.
Yeah.
$2.4 million owed in back taxes or something, so it's a pretty big deal.
Yeah, I get the sense that I know nothing. I'm not an insider, but when you're behind by $2.4 million, I get the sense that somebody didn't manage the money too well. That's just because that's not just a 1-year tax problem.
I heard they. Well, you hear things on the internet.
Sure.
You don't want to spread the internet stuff. Then I'd start sounding like, I don't know, Fox. I guess I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, that kind of sucks. My second event I ever put on with David Hawkins, we rented Heartland Park.
Oh.
Nicest people out there.
Yeah.
It was back in 2005. We put on the NA 2005, Toyota MR2, Lotus Elise, and Celica All-Track National Meet.
Sure.
And it was a blast. They were so nice.
Yeah.
Much better than that. The Vegas track we rented. Those people weren't bad. It was just they expected a bunch of really rich, well-off super owners, which had previously gone to that track.
Sure,
we weren't any of that. So, but Heartland Park was more our speed. We had the SCCA run our autocross for us, which was really cool.
Yeah,
and because they're right down the street,
sure,
the national headquarters.
Yep,
for the SCCA
still are.
So yeah, and we actually had it. I'm looking through Dana's old emails, and I've got a date for Heartland Park. Unfortunately, they're not going to be open
for next year.
Yeah, I did, because I thought that would be awesome to hold a ChampCar race in the SEC's backyard.
I wonder if somebody will try to buy it.
There's a lot of taxes involved. Because from what I understand, another owner for another fairly new track looked at buying it and saw all that problem and just walked away. So,
well, I mean, they're going to have to eat part of that. I mean, if they choose to sell it, if they can sell it, that will diminish the value of the property because someone's going to have to eat those taxes.
Yeah.
So,
well, Walmart they do like big buildings on places like that, don't they? Or is it Amazon?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
What?
So
they do drag race in there too. That drag strip was really freaking nice.
Well, and they used to have an NHRA event there, and apparently the owner owns another track and moved the NHRA event out of Heartland Park. Oh. So, which my guess is that's probably its biggest payday weekend.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Hard to pay your taxes if you don't got people coming through the gate.
Right. The track was fun.
Yeah.
I mean, there was elevation change, which surprised me a little bit, especially since there is no elevation in Topeka.
Yeah.
But yeah, fun track. And unfortunately, that would have been nice because I think we would have had a really good turnout there, especially since we're trying to build up that
middle country,
that central area right now. Yeah.
Well, stay tuned for news, right? That's what I always like to say.
That's right. Things are changing daily with ChampCar, and
until it's over,
we'll be able to find some more tracks out there and do something with them.
There's this cool track out. It's called Button Willow.
I would love to go there. I really do. Right now we're working through some issues.
Sure.
And once we get those sorted out, then it's just a matter of, okay, let's start expanding out west and going back. Because I really want to go back to Laguna. I want to go back to Sonoma. I want to go back to Button Willow, even Thunder Hill. I love Thunder Hill. The people there that run that, we've worked with them for many years at other tracks. And,
what could...
And that's... So, did you see the numbers for the 25?
No.
Oh, they're not good.
Oh.
What's up with that, man?
I don't know. I
know this is inside ChampCar, but we have a lot of folks in ChampCar that race in multiple series.
Yeah.
And,
well, I mean, there's kind of no way to sidestep around it. The gas prices are really high, and they're higher in California than they are anywhere else.
You're only running for, what, 16 hours?
Yeah. It's 25 hours.
Just buy your gas in a drum,
No, I'm talking about traveling back and forth from wherever you live.
Yeah, I know, and that's
that you're driving to these races, some of these, so it's expensive these days. And
yeah, you get out to Nevada, any place where they have that super clean fuel, which is more money. Right. It's and which is good. I grew up in Southern California where it was not super clean back in the 60s and 70s. It was just so smoggy.
Yeah.
And you can go out there now and it's nowhere near what it was. And it's all due to the changes made.
Yeah.
So
yeah. Now the good news is that the 25's like over the holidays, right? Usually.
What was that again? Sorry?
It's over the holidays, right? It's like December or January?
No, November now. He moved it up.
Okay. Well, even in November, we have this thing called winter blend. So the gas prices go down in the winter here. Not a lot, but they're usually
enough.
50 cents cheaper in the winter than they are in the summer. So, but it's still very expensive. So I kind of get that.
Well, taxes too.
Yeah.
Now, in California, so in Virginia, if I bought gasoline that's taxed and I used it for off-road purposes, can you get your tax money back on that?
I don't believe California gives any tax money back.
Oh. Because we could do that with our diesel car. So when you pay the truck diesel price, but if you saved your receipts once you hit a certain point in how much you threshold. Then you could submit it, and they'd send you the refund back for the automotive diesel.
Yeah, I find it hard to believe that California sends any tax money back. Anyway, that's
but I don't know. You're living the life of luxury. I saw you earlier. You said you had to turn on your air conditioning, and I know PG&E thanks you.
Yes. So Cal Edison is the new sponsor of Inside ChampCar.
Yeah. So Big Money Brian here turning his AC on in the dead of fall.
Well, I got this. This is hard, Bill, to make this look even remotely close to okay. Which
don't
means
use the Clegg lights. That's probably the issue.
I got this big old dome light blowing it, and even though it's a fluorescent, it's still a little warm. So I've got to do.
My wife makes me close the door, which means the air doesn't circulate in the house.
Right, and I've got to have my door closed because the air conditioner is literally in the closet next to me. So if the door is open, you wouldn't hear me. It would sound like I was broadcasting from a Airbus 320.
I find it funny though, Southern California have air conditioning because when I grew up in Southern California, I knew nobody with air conditioning.
Well, but you lived by the water, right?
Yeah,
I live.
We were what, 4 miles inland?
Yeah. See, if I lived 4 miles from the ocean, I wouldn't need air conditioning either. But I live in the valley. It is like.
Oh yes.
Yeah, this is like the DMZ here when it comes to heat. So. Yeah, people in the valley have had air conditioning for a long time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Putnam Park, you know anything about that place?
Putnam Park is in Tulsa? No, Putnam Park. Where is Putnam Park?
No, I think isn't it up in Michigan?
Oh, that could be.
I think. Come on, Internet.
Greencastle, Indiana. I can Google just as fast as anybody.
Yeah, I couldn't. I can't spell Putnam. So Indiana. So so they don't allow overnight races, but we don't always race overnight. So
yeah,
we'll see. It's 30 minutes south of southwest of Indy, and for those we are already talking with Fred Wolf. So, and thanks, Fred. And we'd love to build that back up.
So I already see a potential issue with Putnam Park. There's not a lot of paddock. I'm looking at the Google satellite.
Well, we only allow minis to race.
Okay, that would work.
On that note,
that would work. All right, man. What else is there? I guess that's about it, right?
I think so. Do we have anything else we promised we'd talk about? I just write the script. I don't read it.
Yeah, it helps if you're going to write notes to use the notes.
Yeah. So, like I said, we're working on the schedule. We're doing our budgets for the rest of the year, get those races out of the way. We've got a lot of changes coming within the way that we do things in ChampCar staff-wise, which is good. And Chelsea's got some really good ideas. The board has a bunch of really good ideas, and it's going to be good.
Great. Well, then I think it's time for us to say peace out, right?
Yeah.
All right.
I need an assistant. You want to be my assistant?
I will, sure. Does it pay well?
No.
Oh, then definitely I want to be your assistant.
There's no pay.
That's going to do it.
I'm hoping to get paid.
That's going to do it for another episode of Inside ChampCar. Do you like what you hear? Subscribe to the podcast or the YouTube channel so you won't miss any episodes. Also, share on your social media channels. Comment on the ChampCar Facebook page. New episodes every week. He's Bill Strong. I'm Brian Bielanski. This is the Racing Wire Podcast Network and ChampCar Live on YouTube. See you guys next week.